What's good? What's good? What's good, beautiful people? This is your guy, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Really appreciate you guys for being here for another episode. Remember, Chalk It Up Sports is coming at you daily, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And I try to do my best to stick to that schedule. Trust me, you guys, I really do. But life happens. I'm a working man as well. I'm married. And, when duty calls, duty calls. And sometimes you got to step up when you the man in charge, right? But regardless, I appreciate you guys for locking in. I appreciate you guys for being here. If you guys are just hopping in on the live stream, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you also hit that notification bell as well. When you hit the notification bell, it reminds you any and every time I upload a video or I go live. Anything that I'm connected to, when you got that notification bell on, it lets you know to your phone. It lets you know on your laptop, your email, whatever. Just make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell just so you can be made aware of any and every time I go live or I post some content, because it's all for you guys at the end of the day. I want to continue to feed you guys sports content. I want to continue to feed you guys my perspective. And, you know, that's the vibe I'm on. We got so many people that love sports that tune in different ways. Some people are in class, trying to tune into their professor while they tuned in to Chalk It Up Sports. They got one earbud in, one earbud out. And then on top of that, you got some people who are at work right now, probably working that day shift, on a lunch break. You know what I mean? So, man, I appreciate anybody who just takes the time out to watch the content. I appreciate anybody who takes the time to really just dedicate their time to me. You guys can be doing anything. You guys could be watching Netflix on your phone on your lunch break. You could be having a phone conversation. Uh, you could be just taking a nap, right? But you locked in with me, and I don't take that for granted, not one bit. So if you guys are hopping in, make sure you smash that like button. I'm always grateful for that. It really helps the content grow. It's currency. It's the fuel that helps channels grow. So make sure you guys understand your power and continue to smash that like button. But you know, there are some things I want to talk about today, as usual. And you guys are always super, super electric in the live chat. My bad, you guys. That's the fantasy notification for ESPN. But you guys are always really engaged in the live chat. So continue to smash that like button. My man Ivan Mims is in the building. He says, yo, what's up, bro? Shit, I'm in my car on my break now. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. My man Drew Johnson in the building. Hey, listen, if you guys are coming in, make yourself known. Say what's up. I always love talking to y'all. What's up, Drew? What's up, Ivan? You know what I mean? But I have I have something I want to talk to you guys about. What's going on, Lucas? How you feeling, man? Hey, Lucas, fresh out. That's what's up, Lucas. So, what you going to be, a senior in high school, or you graduated from high school, or you're a freshman in college? What's your you know what I mean? Tell me about it, Lucas. You're going to be a senior, going to be a junior, going to be a freshman in college. What's up, Philly Day? What's going on, my man? We got 10 people in the live chat. Thank y'all so much. Continue to build it up. Make sure you guys smash that like button on the way in. Continue to smash that like button. Also, you guys, follow me on Instagram and follow me on Twitter. My handle is down below at DeShields, DESHIELDS. That's double underscores. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter. And also make sure you guys follow me on Instagram. What's going on, Rock? How you feeling, man? But I have a question for you guys. But now we all know the Philadelphia Eagles are in their OTAs, and the most amount of OTAs a team can have is 13 OTA sessions. The Philadelphia Eagles, I believe, only are having 6. I don't know how I feel about that. The Philadelphia Eagles are really trying to protect themselves against any sort of, I guess, health scares or whatever it may be. But I got to ask you guys a question, because I'm all about practice makes perfect, right? Or at least get you close to it. But let me ask you guys this question. Are the Eagles making a big mistake by practicing less during the offseason? Now, let me remind you of this. The Philadelphia Eagles were one of the last teams to begin their OTAs. They were one of the last teams to begin their off-season, I guess you'll call it, organized team activities. And on top of that, they don't have mandatory mini camps at all. At all. The Philadelphia Eagles are making their offseason as flexible as possible for the players. Now, hear me out on this. I personally am not a fan of the Eagles having too many days off. Now, look, I completely understand health is wealth, and you want these guys to make it to week one fully healthy. I get it. Trust me, I get it. Because the last thing we need is injuries derailing what could be a great season. But at the same time, just as practice makes perfect or damn near perfect, less practice makes less perfect. These OTAs, these mini camps, they're important to make sure the team is on one accord, to make sure the team is in sync. That stuff matters to me. And on top of that, I'm a firm believer in, I'm a firm believer in building up a callus or getting used to contact, right? And when you don't build up that callus, when you're not used to getting hit, and then you finally get hit, you don't really know how to react. And I just think this team in general can really benefit from some more grass time. You know what I mean? Like, this team is far from perfect. I understand that we made a lot of moves in the offseason that would put us in position to be ultra competitive. And I'm not discounting any of the moves that were made. They were great moves. We have a lot of talent now. But that doesn't mean we should practice less, right? Think about it like this. Last year, we practiced a little more. Now, Nick Sirianni, when he came in as the head coach, I understood why he did what he did. The Eagles didn't practice as much, but they practiced more than they are this season. I think last year we had about 10 organized team activities, and this year we only got 6. And I understood what Nick Sirianni was trying to do. He was trying to appeal to the veterans. He was trying to make sure the team felt that he had their best interests. But now, this team showed what they were capable of. They made the playoffs as they were built last season, and I believe that it's time to take it up a notch. And you don't take it up a notch by doing less work in the offseason. That's not my belief. And again, the way they're approaching it, it prevents potential injuries. Sure, I believe that. I believe these guys are trying to safeguard against injuries. I totally get it. Totally get it. But at the same time, you guys, don't you feel your team should be practicing way more? Don't you believe that your team should be fine-tuning the details? You know what I mean? Now look, it's only June. This is just the beginning of what's to come, right? This is only the beginning of training camps and mini camps and so on and so forth. This is only the beginning. But I think it's important to start on the right foot. And I need this team to be as disciplined as they possibly can. Let's think about last year, right? How many touchdowns were called off the board because of lack of discipline? I'm asking you guys. How many touchdowns were called off of the board because of lack of discipline? And this is what I talk about. The Philadelphia Eagles, they need the extra reps, right? They need the extra reps. And I don't really think he is necessarily feeling himself, South Tex. I don't think that's really what it is. I actually think it's above him. I actually think Howie Roseman has something to do with this, if you ask me. I actually believe that. I think Howie Roseman is in Nick Sirianni's ear saying, look, let's take some pressure off the guys. We want everybody to get to the season as healthy as they possibly can. I think it's more so Howie Roseman whispering in Nick Sirianni's ear rather than Nick Sirianni being cocky. I know he's an emotional guy, but he doesn't strike me as a cocky guy. He doesn't strike me as an arrogant guy. He strikes me as someone that loves football, loves the game, will do any and everything to get guys on that field. But I'm personally not a fan of practicing less. But I understand their logic. Their logic is protecting the players. But what happened? But you can't always try to protect yourself from harm. Like, I mean, of course, self-preservation always kicks in, but some things are outside of your control, and you have to accept that for what it is. Like, don't get me wrong. This team has improved dramatically on paper. Dramatically. But they still got to make sure they're in sync. They still got to make sure they're on point. Like I said, how many points were taken off the board last year because of a lack of discipline? So I think this year they're going to be doing 7-on-7s, but they're not going to have too much grass time. It's not going to be crazy. Like Nick Sirianni strikes me as someone who's very, very animated, right? Loves the game. He personally doesn't strike me as someone who's cocky. Not quite. Not yet, at least. Not yet. Now maybe if he wins the Super Bowl, then that'll be a whole other conversation. But overall, I'm torn. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm really torn about it. I'm torn. That's my honest opinion. I'm really torn about it. Let's get some shout outs out the way. Shout out to my man Ivan Mims in the building, Drew Johnson, Lucas Hallman, Philly Day 3, Rock the Artist, South Tex, Ryan Rowe, Philly the podcast, my man Castro, what's going on? JC Sports Talk, my guy, what's going on, fellas? JC says, Subtone, I think we need to practice like we did 2017 offseason, where they went back to hitting and being physical. That's a good point. That's a very good point. When you're used to getting hit, you build up that callus, and you're not shocked when guys hit you. As a matter of fact, when you're used to being hit, that could probably prevent fumbles. Because I remember Miles Sanders, one of his first games back, he fumbled because he got hit just a little too hard, and he ain't handled physical contact in so long. And that's what I always fear when guys come off injury, especially if you're a ball carrier. I always fear that you're going to fumble. So Tech says Sirianni has a bit of cockiness to him. Remember that B Dollar shirt? That was cocky of him. Yeah, that was a little bit, that was gimmicky. I'll give you that. That was definitely gimmicky. It was fun to talk about, but it was definitely gimmicky. Drew Johnson says, right, Tony, did it last year. They're worried about injuries. I feel you. I get it. I totally get it. Injuries happen, though. It's a part of the game. It's a contact sport. Drew Johnson says, I get what you're saying. We were on record pace for penalties beginning of last year. Absolutely. You know what I mean? And that's my biggest thing. Like, this team could use all the reps they can get. And when you enter the offseason with a lackadaisical mindset, with a carefree mindset, how do you think you're going to enter the season? With a lackadaisical and a carefree mindset. That's just the reality. And like I said, when you're not used to getting hit, soft tissue injuries mount up. Hamstrings and little ticky-tack things like that. You got to get these guys used to moving. You got to get these guys back on that grass. Now I'm not saying they're not doing any sort of individualized drills, with their position coaches. They're doing all that kind of stuff, keeping them loose. But, I just feel like you got a lot of new players on this team. You have a lot of new players, a lot of new faces, guys that need to learn the schemes, and you can't really afford to BS like that. You can't really try to guard against everything. You gotta let these guys play. Philly Podcast, Joe Castro, he says, as a fan, I'm not too mad about us taking it easy. As a creator, I'm bored as hell. Yo, that's funny, man. That is funny. Yeah, man, it's a little bit of a dry season right now. This is the hardest part about being a content creator, and I'm going to get to JC's point in a little bit, but this is how you find out who's really in this content creation game. This is how you find out who's really locked in, because there are guys who take days off because it's the off season. No, you gotta find that content. You gotta find those gems. You gotta find a needle in the haystack. You gotta create narratives. You gotta create entertainment, and you gotta create conversational talking points and topics. You have to be creative in your off season. So this is where you find out who's really about this content game and who's really not. Even when you're doing live streams, me, I do a lot of live streams by myself, and obviously you guys hold me down, and I rely on you guys to be engaged, and you guys bring up a lot of different talking points. So you guys challenge my thoughts, and we go back and forth, right? But overall, I'm essentially doing monologues every day, and that's actually one of the more complicated things to do. It's easier to do content when you have a co-host. But when you do hour and a half, 2 hour long live streams, and it's just you basically monologuing and being creative with your words and your verbiage and your topics, that's where the talent starts to shine through. I actually believe that I'm getting a lot of great reps, especially in the off season. That's where you get tested. I feel like when you're doing it alone, you get a lot of great reps, as a creator, as an orator, as a speaker. And when you make it a point to get those reps and don't take days off, you're going to naturally get better. You're going to naturally learn more about yourself. You're going to start to realize there are parts of your language that you no longer use, like the word all the time, right? Or you have crutch words. Everyone has crutch words that they rely on when they don't have anything to say. Typically, people revert to if they're trying to build a bridge from thought to thought. But the beautiful thing is learning about yourself. And I think that's what the Philadelphia Eagles need to really take into consideration when it comes to these OTAs and mandatory minicamps and all that. You're missing out on opportunities to learn more about your game. You're missing out on opportunities to learn more about your teammates and the scheme and just your body, right? And I just feel like this is such an important time. I miss the days where, coaches were able to communicate with their players, in February and March, right? But now the new CBA, the new collective bargaining agreement, prevents coaches from being in contact and talking football with their players. I think up until June or something like that, or maybe May. I can't really remember, but there is a gift and a curse with the new CBA. Yes, we're protecting players, but the players are also making more. And to whom and to much is given, much is required. And it seems like more is being given and less is being required of players these days. And look, these guys get millions of dollars to put their bodies on the line. I'm never going to sit here and pretend like I know what it's like to get hit like that. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that. I'm not. I'm just not. That's not what I'm saying. But I think it's important to study yourself. I think it's important to get those reps in any way you possibly can. I think it's important for guys to really commit to their development. And I think it's important for these coaches to be able to evaluate these guys, especially these young guys. And I think the coaches are missing out on valuable opportunities to evaluate these guys by limiting the OTAs. Remember, the Eagles were one of the last teams to start their OTAs. They're one of the only teams to have non-mandatory minicamps. I don't like that. JC Sport Talk says Nick was trying too hard last year to be cool, to be accepted instead of being a coach first. I agree. I think he had a bad press conference and it kind of stuck with him a little bit, and he was trying real hard to just, fit in and take the pressure off. But in reality, he was making a spectacle of himself. But he realized that after that Dallas smackdown, he stopped wearing those dumbass shirts. Drew Johnson says that shirt was pandering, not cockiness. It was bravado. Well, when you have bravado, Drew, there's an air of arrogance that comes with bravado, right? Maybe not he definitely was pandering, but when you exercise bravado, there's an air of arrogance that comes with that, if you ask me. Philly the podcast says, I got to get you on soon, bro. Hey, let me know, man. I got to get you on my channel too. I know our schedules never line up because I know you work at night sometimes and so on and so forth. But, we'll definitely work it out, my guy. You already know how we get down. JC Sports Talk says, agree. I love going live by myself. Some people can't. They need another person out there with them. Yeah, it's you learn a lot about yourself when you go live by yourself. You learn a lot. You communicate, like you really learn about your communication style. You really get an opportunity to really hear yourself and really study your patterns and all that kind of stuff. It's really interesting. South Tech says, should sign me up. He said, should sign me up to go get hit like that for $1 million. Yo, South Tech's funny as hell, man. Yo, he's a funny dude. That's funny, man. That's funny as hell. Philly Pop-Up says, what's up, Tone? I don't think it matters. If they have good staff that's responsible for their conditioning, they should be ready for the season. I get it. I get it. I get it. At the end of the day, people have a job to do. And it's important for this medical staff to do their job. It's important for the players to take care of their bodies. Sometimes injuries happen because players aren't taking care of their bodies. You dig what I'm saying? If you're not taking care of your body, if you continue to eat bull crap, what you think's going to happen? Your body's going to respond to that. You literally are what you eat. It's just that simple. South Tech says that was ignorance on his part. Come on. No, it was definitely ignorance. Most definitely ignorance, for sure. He was pandering, but he was ignorant for sure. I think he was trying too hard to appeal to the Eagles fans. And it was cool at first, but when you see, it's cool when you win. But when you lose the way he lost, it ain't cool no more. It ain't cool no more. But it seems like some of you guys are kind of like me, kind of on the fence. You understand why they're limiting the practice time. You understand why they're limiting grass time. But also, you guys do feel like this team could use a lot more reps because this team lacked discipline in certain areas last year. Like I said, there was over 7 or 8. There was at least 7 or 8 touchdowns that was taken off the board because of lack of discipline. Guys were stepping out of bounds when they were running their routes. Guys were getting caught setting picks in the passing game. Guys were jumping off sides. Guys were had false starts. This team lacked discipline during a portion of the previous season, and we can't have that. So I think it's important for this team to continue to get reps as many as they can, but at the same time, health is wealth, and I want these guys to be fully healthy by the time the season begins. That's my honest take on that. But I want to transition to something else because, like I said, or like I asked you guys, are they making a big mistake by practicing less? And to take it a step further, since they're practicing less and the reps aren't what they used to be, who could benefit the most from extra reps in the offseason? Who on this Philadelphia Eagles roster, offense or defense or special teams, who on this, or even the coaching staff, right? Who in this organization could benefit the most from extra reps in the offseason? Like I said, this team is taking days off and nothing is mandatory for the most part. But ultimately, who could benefit the most? There are many players on this team who could use the extra reps, who could use the extra opportunities because of the simple fact that they're young. Maybe last year didn't really live up to their own expectations. Maybe they had a lot of bonehead plays last year, whatever it may be. But who on this roster, who in this organization, coaches included, who can benefit the most from having the extra reps in the offseason? Now, one person in particular, Derrick Barnett. Derrick Barnett had more penalties than sacks last year. That's unheard of. That's actually one of the most disappointing stat lines I've ever seen for a defensive lineman. To have damn near double the amount of penalties than you did sacks. It's disgusting. And that's the kind of stuff that gets you benched. That's the kind of stuff that gets you cut. And that's why it shocked me when the Philadelphia Eagles brought back Derrick Barnett, because he made a lot of mistakes last year. And they were head scratchers, to say the least. And I'm never one to disrespect people. I like to treat these guys like they're grown men. Derrick Barnett did not appear to be a professional to me last season. That's just my humble opinion. To have more penalties than sacks is criminal. And it makes you wonder why he got his extension. If I had to think of a reason why he got the extension, it's because the Philadelphia Eagles figured, well, the edge rusher market isn't as vast as it could be. Let's just bring him back, and we're gonna load up on the defensive line anyway. Bring him in a rotational role. The talent is there. We just need to sharpen up his discipline, and that's Derek Barnett's problem. Really, it's not even a talent issue. It's a discipline issue. If Derek Barnett was a much more disciplined athlete, I think he would be significantly better. He'll have way more sacks. He'll be way more productive. We wouldn't even be talking about him, you know. But it is what it is. Another player that I believe could benefit a lot from the extra reps is clearly Jalen Rager. Jalen Rager obviously could use the extra reps. He needs to build up his confidence as much as he possibly can. Who knows what his future holds in Philadelphia, but he definitely could use the extra reps. There were moments last year where he completely seemed out of it. He didn't seem locked in. That Giants game was a perfect example. He had two opportunities to catch game-winning touchdowns, and he couldn't do it. Two opportunities. And he's in his head a lot. And maybe he needs to see a sports therapist or a sports psychologist. He's also been going through a lot in his personal life, and it's starting to bleed on the field. And you would think that would be a motivating factor, but it's actually been a handicap for him, and it's limited his production. But like I said, who do you guys think could benefit the most from the extra reps in the offseason? Let's see who you guys got. So, JC Sports Talk says, I think the rookies and the new guys that wasn't on the team last year. But in all honesty, I think the whole team needs more reps because we don't know what scheme JG or Nick is going to run. Great point. You pretty much encapsulated everything. This team in general could use extra reps. Everybody, coaches included, because it's important for the players to understand the terminology, and it's important for these coach staff to be able to make sure their installs are embedded in his team's head. Terminology, lingo, anything, any sort of verbiage that needs to be communicated or understood. This is an opportunity to make sure these guys know that. And look, right, these guys probably are doing a lot of stuff maybe in the war room or in the classroom, right? Maybe, I know Nick Sirianni is really big on fundamentals, and he's really good. He's really hell bent on installing fundamentals because when all else fails, you have to rely on your fundamentals. You have to rely on what got you here. And Nick Sirianni has shown he has an ability to coach guys up and develop them. He did a good job coaching up Kenny Gainwell last season. He did a pretty good job coaching up Nick Sirianni last season. I'm sorry, Jalen Hurts last season. Excuse me. Who else? Did a really good job coaching up Landon Dickerson, but that's more so Jeff Stoutland. Did a good job coaching up Quez Watkins as well. So Nick Sirianni is showing that he's capable of developing guys because guys have gotten better. Guys have shown productivity in limited action or limited roles, however you want to describe it. But everybody could benefit from the extra reps, especially the new guys, especially the rookies. You know what I mean? South Tech says it could be strategy or arrogance on the team's part. Philly Day 3 says secondary, too many young improving guys. That's a very, very good point as well. Outside of Darius Slay and outside of James Bradberry and Devonta Maddox, there's a lot of young corners on this team. And who knows if Nick Sirianni and or James Bradberry or Devonta Maddox will be able to stay healthy from beginning to end of the season. And that's a big question mark. But in the event someone gets hurt, you have to get other guys involved. You have to make sure other guys are prepared to take over if something goes wrong. You got to make sure guys like Tay Gowan, Kerry Vincent Jr., Zach McPherson, you got to make sure all those guys are getting enough reps as they possibly can to be the best version of themselves on the field, and it's not going to be easy, especially if guys get hurt. We're going to really take a step back defensively if one of our star corners get hurt, and even in the safety position, I think Marcus Epps could use extra reps. Kevon Wallace could use extra reps. You know what I'm saying? Like all that stuff could really benefit, but it is what it is. It ultimately is what it is. South Tech says, we'll trade you Rager for Anthony Brown. Is Anthony Brown that cornerback you were telling me about, South Tech? If I'm not mistaken, he's the corner that was playing opposite side Trevon Diggs, right? I just want to make sure I'm not tripping. South Tech says, I want to see Bossman out there over AB. Says we'll trade you Rager for Anthony Brown. So you're not a fan of Anthony Brown, the corner on your team. Okay. But yeah. Okay, South Tech says, yes, sir, he wasn't that bad this year under Quinn's system. Okay. All right. But you want Jalen Rager? What you want with Jalen Rager, South Tech? What you see? Huh? JC says special teams needs more reps, I think, this year if we want to get back to if we want to get back where we want to get to at the end of the season. All three phases of offense, defense, special teams of this team need to contribute. You're absolutely right. Last year, our offensive team, our special teams was horrific. We sucked that field. We always lost the field position battle. We couldn't get any more than 15 to 18 yards when it came to returning kicks or even punts. Like this team overall just wasn't good, like from a special team perspective. And I don't know if you put that on Michael Clay, as a new special teams coach. I don't know if you put that on the players or the lack of talent or the lack of speed or whatever. I don't know if you put that on the return man. But this team was not good on special teams at all. And it showed up in various ways. But let's move on. I have another question for you guys. How long is Nick Sirianni's leash in Philadelphia? Nick Sirianni is entering his second season as the Philadelphia Eagles head coach. And last season was a pleasant surprise, right? Last season was a pleasant surprise, and we made the playoffs. Didn't really think we were, but we did with a 9-8 record. So now Nick Sirianni has, for lack of better terms, established a floor. He's established a floor of what to expect from his team, from him as a head coach. He's giving you a floor. He's showing you that he's capable of adjusting when need be. He's shown that he's capable of completely uprooting a system he installed and installing an entirely new one, changing. He showed that he's very good at maintaining his locker room. He's definitely more of a player's coach. Didn't play in the league, but played college football, I believe, at I don't know what school he went to, but he played wide receiver. Nonetheless, Nick Sirianni has shown some positive things, if you ask me. But at the same time, he has to coach this team this year. That was then. This is now. And now you have a lot of talent. So there's no excuse. So how long is Nick Sirianni's leash in Philadelphia? What would happen if the Eagles underperformed? If the Eagles underperformed with this roster, let's say the Eagles do worse than 9-8. Is it the coach or is it everyone else? Because there's too much talent on this team for this team to go just 9-8 or below 9-8. This is the way this roster is constructed. This is a double-digit win season. This is a 10 win or more season. I say 11 wins if I'm being completely honest. South Tech says, I just want to see Joseph or Brown, honestly, but the Cowboys play political football, and they put Anthony Brown over Joseph because he was a rook last year. Um, Also, don't forget the money too. Philly Day 3 says Jake Elliott was the only good thing on switch teams. Yeah, man, you're absolutely right. Like Jake Elliott was like spot on. I think he only missed like maybe two kicks or two or three kicks all season last year. South Tech says, and now we could, and now we could, and man, could you put Rager in the slot? Oh, he said, and man, we could use Rager in the slot. Hey, man, Jalen Rager could use a change of scenery. He's from Texas. You never know, man. All I know is Jalen Rager is one of those guys that can definitely use a lot more reps. He's also a head case, and I wish him the best. He's been going through a lot, man, and I don't wish that kind of pain on anybody losing close friends or family. I don't wish that pain on anybody. I don't know, wish that pain on anybody. JC says, "Did you know that every head coach the Eagles had, they always improve in their second season? So I have faith that Nick will do just fine. So his leash is about 3 more years, like Howie contract. Yeah, I think Nick Sirianni signed a 4-year contract or something like that, a 4 or 5 year contract, and his leash, he's in a good position right now. I'll give him that. He's in a very good position when it comes to his job security right now. But if this team underperforms this year dramatically, Nick Sirianni is definitely going to be on the chopping block, but I don't know if they're going to give up on him right away. You don't want to just be that team that's constantly recycling head coaches. You don't want to be that organization. You just don't. The Pittsburgh Steelers have only had 2 coaches this entire century. I think it was Bill Cowher and Mike Tomlin. The Philadelphia Eagles have had Andy Reid, Chip Kelly, Doug Peterson, Nick Sirianni. 4 coaches in this century. Not that bad when you think about it. Because we're in 2022. That's an average of 5 years per head coach. But obviously, Andy Reid been here in the 90s as well. And he also was here for a lot of the 2000s. Chip Kelly, I think, was only here for like maybe 2 or 3 seasons, if that. Doug Peterson was here for 5 years. So, Nick Sirianni has a real opportunity to really lock this job down for the long term. Is he one of the new young hotshots at head coach? Can he take his coaching to another level like Andy Reid did? It's not going to be easy, but Nick Sirianni has learned from some of the best. And I believe Nick Sirianni has what it takes. But Nick Sirianni can't be the reason why this team is failing. He has to be the reason why they're doing well. He has to do everything he can to put his players in position. That's just my humble opinion. But to you guys, what's considered to be a fireable offense for Nick Sirianni? What would have to happen for Nick Sirianni to be fired? What would have to happen if Nick Sirianni was to be fired? South Tech says, I know it seems like the division is between Cowboys and Eagles, but man, I feel like Washington is definitely a sleeper, and we bash the Giants. But if Tyrod takes over, it could be trouble. Here's the thing, right? I don't see Tyrod Taylor taking over unless Daniel Jones is historically bad. Historically. Because remember, they already declined his option. So they don't owe him anything really. They can decide to bench him and move on, and he'll forever be a backup quarterback for the rest of his life. And I think that's already in the cards for him. Still making a lot of money as a backup. But Daniel Jones, Tyrod Taylor, it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out. Victor Johnson says it's Gannon. Gannon will be the one to blame. It's too much talent on this team for anyone to fail. You're absolutely right. Way too much talent for everyone to fail. Way too much. South Tech says, man, if the Eagles flop this year, y'all content creators better shut down their channels. That's all I'm saying. Cause boy, now you know damn well we ain't shutting nothing down. We're gonna keep it up. But man, this year can't be a flop. South Tech, it really can't. It can't be a flop. JC says, I ain't shutting nothing down. I'm in it for the long haul, win or lose. He says, the way y'all are talking. Hey, listen, this this is what any team would do, right? South Tex. If the Cowboys made the moves that we made, you would be talking too, man. Let's think about it. When you guys brought in Amari Cooper, then you drafted CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup, y'all was talking crazy. Y'all was saying, "Oh man, we got the best wide receiver group in the NFL," and understandably so. That's a lot of talent, So teams, we're gonna talk. That's a part of the game, my guy. If we ain't talking, damn, what are we doing? We must be dead. Jack talk, what's going on, my guy? Hope all is well. So I asked you guys, what's a fireable offense for Nick Sirianni? What would have to happen, or what can't happen if he gets fired? And JC Sports Talk says a 4-13 record. He's fired. Fired. 4-13 record seems impossible this year. I don't see that happening. That's insane. Like, what are we, the Giants? All right, let me chill. Ryan Rose says Jonathan Gannon has to go if he doesn't get the defensive coordinator job right. I feel you. I feel you on that, Ryan. South Texas JC, y'all be talking spicy. Y'all better win the division and win a playoff game. Bro, Cowboys, y'all talk spicy too. Come on, South Texas. Y'all be talking the spiciest. Y'all be talking with that Texas barbecue spice. Y'all be talking with that dry rub. You feel what I'm saying? Y'all always be talking heavy. Philly fan day 3 says if we go under 9 wins in the next 2 years, yeah, man, that'd be rough. JC says we can lose the division and still win a playoff game. South Texas, we don't need to win the division to move on. Just saying. I mean, that's a good point. It makes your route a little harder, but and I would love to win the division, but you don't really need to win the division to get into the playoffs. But you win the division, you automatically in. So that's that. JC also says, I've never heard so many Cowboys fans crying and calling themselves underdogs. How in the world are y'all underdogs with the best QB in the division? That's a good point. Dak Prescott is the best quarterback in the division. Ryan Rose says Nick Sirianni and Jonathan Gannon can't win a Super Bowl. Okay, so Ryan Rose saying if Nick Sirianni and Jonathan Gannon can't win a Super Bowl and they fail in the playoffs, it's going to turn into a rebuild. Man, that's heavy. That's heavy, man. Martin Jones says, even if we have a terrible year, I don't see them firing him after their second year unless we are bottom 5 in the league. Right. He would have to be historically bad to get fired at this point in his career. But I really think this team can win 11 games minimum. I don't see why they can't. South Tech says, I see what you're saying. Us Cowboys fans have some high standards. We expect Super Bowl every year. Right. That's all I'm saying. South Tech says that's nothing new to us. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that's all. Like, you guys have high expectations too. Y'all talk spicy every year, and we all know what happens, right? We're not gonna get into that. Philly Popper says if Nick starts to diss Jeffrey Lurie like Chip Kelly did, he's out of here for sure. Yeah, Chip Kelly is a spicy individual. He's gonna talk crazy for some reason, and he doesn't even have anything to back it up. But I don't see that being in Nick Sirianni's character. He strikes me as someone that's he's going to relatively move with the current. He's not going to rock the boat. Not going to rock the boat. South Texas, and we fail year after year. Oh man. Martin Jones says, "How do y'all expect Super Bowl when most of y'all fans weren't alive last Super Bowl?" Oh, that's funny. Jack Talk says, "Tone, how do you feel about Jeffrey's son taking over?" I'm so glad you brought that up, right? Because that's actually one of my next topics. Julian Lurie. Jeffrey Lurie's 27-year-old son now has an official role within the Eagles organization as business and football operations strategy. Now, how do we feel about this? How do we feel about Jeffrey Lurie's son, Julian, potentially taking over the organization? How long until Jeffrey Lurie retires? And when he does, what does it mean for Howie Roseman? Like, we don't really know too much about Howie Roseman's relationship with Julian. But, when the sons take over the business, they typically like to clean house of anything of the old that reminds them of the old regime. And I don't see Jeffrey Lurie retiring anytime soon, but especially given the fact that Julian is only 27 years old, he's my age. Can you imagine somebody my age running an NFL organization? It'd be catastrophic. But I am on the fence about it because I don't know this young man that well. I don't know his patterns or his thought process, or I don't know his approach to the game. All I know is that he's loved. He grew up with the organization. He grew up with the team. The year his dad bought the team in '94 was the year he was born. So I don't really know how to feel about it. All I know is that I'm curious about what Howie Roseman and Julian Lurie's relationship looks like. Will Julian Lurie want to retain Howie Roseman? Will Howie Roseman try to control Julian? Will Julian have trust in Howie like his father did? And if Howie Roseman continues to show and prove that he's a productive GM, I think Julian Lurie would love to rely on Howie Roseman in an advisory capacity as the GM. Like you have to ask yourself, like, will the Eagles be in good hands? Will the Philadelphia Eagles be in good hands? It's a question we have to ask ourselves. And again, who knows when this kid is going to take over? Jeffrey Lurie, I think he's in his 70s, if I'm not mistaken. Really curious about it. He is 70. Okay, Jeffrey Lurie is 70 years old. He'll be 71 in September. So he isn't getting any younger. And Jeffrey Lurie is making it a point to groom Julian. He's doing all the things that he can to make sure he enters ownership in a very good position. And if that's going to happen, it's going to be really important for Julian to shut up and listen, pay attention to what's going on, be more of a learner, be more of a listener than a talker, and I think we'll be okay. I think overall we'll be okay. But it all hinges on Howie Roseman and Julian's relationship. Did Julian see enough from Howie Roseman to be able to confide in him the way Jeffrey Lurie does? That's going to be interesting to think about. Martin Jones says, I hope he's not like Stephen Jones. I completely understand. JC says, as long as he's not like Stephen Jones, I'm okay with it. It's funny. A lot of people keep saying that. Jock Talk says, damn, I'm a mind reader. Yeah, man, you definitely on point. I definitely was talking about that. South Texas, I was 14, doggy, and now I'm 39. So I've seen the glory days. He said there'd been the two parades in downtown Dallas. I know Dallas was lit back then in the 90s. South Texas says, I'll take Howie over Steven for real. Sure, he's a gambler, and I respect that. Scare money don't make money. Hey, man, that's a fact. Meek Mill said it first. Well, Meek Mill said it best. Scared money don't make no money. If I ever go broke, I'ma take your money. Man, it's going to be interesting to see. Victor Johnson says, I'll sum up our upcoming season in the words of David Akers. NFC East champs, divisional champs, NFC champs, and world champs. The world champs. Shout out to David Akers, man. South Tech says, oh, well, of course I can talk, homie. I can't defend the younger generation, though. I think they like Dallas because of the color blue and the star and the star logo. Oh, man, that's funny. Jock Talk says, hell, I watched Dallas beat Denver in the Super Bowl. Yeah, man. Those were the days, right? Those were the days. But my final topic is the Pro Football Focus. They ranked the Eagles' offensive line number one in the NFL, as they should. The Philadelphia Eagles have done everything to put themselves as being one of the better offensive lines in the NFL, being the best rushing attack in the NFL, leading the NFL in rushing. Now, I think we're top 10 in pass protection, top 10, top 5 at best. I don't know if we're the best pass protection team, or the best the best pass protection offensive line. I don't think we're the best. But when it comes to run blocking, we're definitely up there. What do you guys feel about our offensive line? What are your expectations for the offensive line? Do you guys think we can lead the league in rushing again? Do you guys want to lead the league in rushing again? Martin Jones says, I stay in Dallas now and I'm 25. It'll probably be another 25 before the Cowboys win again. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. But we're about to get out of here pretty soon, you guys. I really appreciate you guys for locking in on the content. Like I said, PFF has been pretty friendly to the Philadelphia Eagles. They've considered us to be a top 10 team this year. They say we have the best offensive line in football right now, which is true if you ask me. They've been kind to us pretty much all around. They've said that our top 3 players on our team are AJ Brown, Jordan Mailata, and Lane Johnson. I can't argue with that, but it's going to be important for Jalen Hurts to position himself as being one of the better players on this team. This is his opportunity. When you have an offensive line this good, this dominant, there's no reason why Jalen Hurts shouldn't be able to throw the ball anywhere he wants. This is his opportunity when you have the best offensive line in football. That's just my humble opinion. Jock Talk says I'm old. Oh, man, you guys are hilarious, man. You guys are really hilarious. But, I'm about to get out of here. This is it, you guys. This is the year. This has to be the year for the Philadelphia Eagles to make a name for themselves, to be competitive, to be respectable. And if they don't, man, we're going to be some sad puppies in it straight like that, you guys. I'm going to get out of here. I am your humble host, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got charged to the game. I appreciate you guys for being here. Smash that like button. If you guys are new to the content, make sure you subscribe and also hit that notification bell. Fly Eagles fly, one love, stay humble, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay hungry.